Check, check. Is anyone there? Hello, hello. Let's see. Is it working? You guys, last night when I came on my live, I was like pretty looped. I was barely able to have a thought or a word come out of my mouth. It turned out I was sick. So sadly, I was doing my yoga video. Thank goodness I wasn't doing it live because I was almost at the end and I thought I can make it. I'm not feeling so hot, but I can make it. And I didn't make it. So yuck. I have it on video. I'll put it on members only. So if you want to watch me like throw up all over the quilt right next to the mat, but I didn't throw up on the mat. Thank goodness, because that's just gross. I was able to throw the quilt into the wash and sterilize it a couple of times. Absolutely disgusting. I don't know what it was. Like, there's been a lot of sickness going around the house, so who knows? Anyway, I'm here. I'm live. I don't know if it's working. Is it working? It looks like it's working because the little dots. But let me pull the thing closer to me and go ahead and get started. What a day it has been. Have you guys been watching the freaking Congress and Senate and all this crap? I've never watched that stuff before. What a nightmare. And, you know, they're probably just like so happy that they have people's attention and that people are watching because usually nobody wants to watch that. Anyway, yeah. Anyway, let's not even talk about it. Hit your like button if you'd be so kind. I'm wearing this old dress that I wore a long time ago when I made a video. And then I thought I got rid of it. And I just found it because, you know, I keep organizing my clothes and everything. And it was folded up with my t-shirts. So anyway, I'm happy that I found it. I like the neckline. It's kind of funky. It's kind of high risk. But, you know, it's good to take chances, right? Oh, that's what life is all about. That's what YouTube is all about. I do have hats in case of a hat emergency, in case of a bad hair emergency. Fred Field, hello. Can you hear me? Thank you so much. I was just about to give up thinking that nobody could hear me. Can you hear me? How are you doing today, Mr. Field? Wow. I have been planning on coming on live for, I don't know, about 5 hours. So this is what happens when I'm fiddling with my lights. Because, you know, I got a bunch of new lights for Christmas. And then I let my daughter use the studio for a Zoom meeting that she had for work today at like 11 o'clock this morning. And I got a lot of stuff out of her way so that she wouldn't have to worry about knocking everything over. Because, you know, it's just like booby trapped basically. And she was like, no, you don't have to move stuff. And I was like, no, sweetie, it's fine. Because, you know, sometimes I just want to get rid of it all anyway. So I did. I think I did get rid of 1 or 2 things. And then I brought in a couple of things and I just had to fidget with stuff forever. It's kind of therapeutic. Anyway, sound is good. Ankle is hurting for some reason. I'm sorry, Fred. I'm glad that the sound is good. I'm sorry that your ankle is not. Yeah, I do a lot of like flexing my feet in my yoga routine, and I think that that's imperative. So even if you're not inclined to try yoga, maybe just if you don't mind a little unsolicited advice, if you do, you can tell me to shove it. Just try like pointing your toe, flexing your heel, you know, doing the around thing, and see if that helps. So like I do that a few times in my routine every day, and it seems like a really good thing. Anyway, yeah, let's move on to talking about true crime. And please, oh crap, I took my sign down and it's gone. Look at that. How hilarious. How hilarious. Okay, what are we supposed to do? Make sure you're still subscribed if you are subscribed. And if you're not, please consider just hitting that button. Share a video of mine with somebody that you think might like it. Turn on your notification bell to ring. Hit that like button and let's go. That is so funny because I was like, don't forget to put the sign back. And I did. I forgot. But now where should I put it? I should just fiddle with it, shouldn't I? And maybe I should knock everything over. There's a good idea, huh? Because if I put it here, it'll probably knock over that little wishing well. If I try to put it here, let's see, I'm going to knock over a whole bunch of other stuff. Like I said, it's all freaking booby trapped. Help. I know there's no help for me. I'm way beyond help. I like to say I need all the help that I can get, as a person, as a mental health counselor. Come on, stupid thing. Just stay put. Okay. There. It's almost good enough. You can almost see it. Shall I fidget a little more? It may be due to poor circulation. Old age stinks. It can certainly stink, but it really shouldn't. It doesn't have to. We can age gracefully. That's one of the reasons I'm so committed to the yoga. Because, we're going to age, and we're going to age poorly or well. And I don't know. I sort of like the second option myself. The other option is neither, and that's not my favorite either. So anyway, let's get on with the show. I think I have done all the basic stuff. Am I 5-6 minutes in? Everything I say is simply my opinion for the sake of hoping to start a conversation, open up a discussion, and learn something and be educational. All my videos are made for YouTube. It's an entertainment platform, I think, but I do like to aim for education. Look at you, Fred. You're the only one commenting. We got 2 people here. We got 1 like. You're probably the one that hit the like. If the other person that's watching might want to hit the like, that would be cool. Too many years jumping in and out of trucks. Yeah, you have a very physical job, dude. That keeps you young. That keeps you healthy. That keeps you active. Yeah. I try to be as active as possible. I do try to get out and walk every day. I try to do my yoga every day. I try to do all kinds of stuff every day, like make a true crime video and make a yoga video. And man, yesterday I was really feeling it. I was just like, man, I can't get the things done in a day that I try to get done in a day. But that was before I realized how sick I was. And, anyway, I have a fan on my face right now so that I don't feel, sometimes I just don't want the nausea to creep back in on me. So if you see my hair moving, it's because I'm doing that thing like models do with the light fan, with the light breeze. So let's talk about these dumb cases. Have you been paying attention to all this crazy in Washington, D.C.? I mean, the crazy in Vegas, the crazy in New Orleans. I can't help but wonder, and I'm a conspiracy theorist, I admit it. I can't help but wonder if even the horrible explosions on New Year's Eve in Honolulu, in Hawaii, on Oahu, if that was related. I mean, it's not too often that you have large explosive situations. That happened right at midnight on New Year's Eve in Hawaii. And I've heard reports that 20 people passed away. I've heard reports that a small handful of people passed away. I don't know. I don't know what the final count is. And is it going to be another one of these situations where they are not transparent? Because they've known, I think the government and everybody, the public has known that they have a massive problem in Hawaii with homemade fireworks, basically, which I've never heard of such a thing. I mean, am I just dumb? Am I out of it? Fireworks are expensive, so I guess a lot of people would do them homemade, but they're also extremely dangerous. We all know this. I knew a kid in Seattle. When I say kid, I think he was about 19, and he worked at the mental health facility that I worked at. He was kind of like a maintenance man, and he was really sweet. And he blew his hand off on, he was out on, what's that lake in the middle of Seattle? It wasn't Green Lake. It was the other one, the really big lake where they have the really cool fireworks. Man, I can't believe I'm that brain dead. Fireworks in Seattle. Come on. I'm just going to have to Google it. Seattle Lake fireworks. I used to go there every year. I was actually there the year that he did that, but it's a big place with a lot of people. So Lake Union. I think it's Lake Union, right? Pretty sure. Yeah, that was not going to come to my mind. So it's at Gasworks Park, South Lake Union Park in Lake Union. It's really cool. It's some of the best fireworks I've ever seen. And I grew up in Washington, D.C. in my early years, so I got spoiled at the Washington Monument. The fireworks is amazing. And I don't think I ever really got to see fireworks that compared until I moved to Seattle, actually. So, Granny Annie, did I thank you? Yeah, I did thank you for the fans yesterday. Ola from San Felipe, Baja, Mexico. I thought it said mix for a second. So, thanks so much for being here, you guys. So, Annie, I was really sick last night. I threw up before I could finish my yoga video. Thank goodness I wasn't doing it live because I thought about it. You know, I had done that on New Year's Eve. And I kind of wasn't feeling that good. So I thought, you know, I shouldn't do it live because I don't think I'm going to push myself very hard. And I just kind of foresaw some problems, I guess. And I was almost done when I was like, and I, cray. I push myself too hard sometimes. Anyway, what were we talking about? We were talking about the fireworks in Hawaii and then the Tesla Cybertruck blowing up in front of the Trump Hotel in Vegas, and then the guy who drove his pickup truck, a rented pickup truck, you guys. There's a lot of weird things about the situation in New Orleans and the situation in Vegas, and you probably already know this. I'm going to put a Christina Randall video link in the description because she really broke it down quite succinctly. Is this the right notebook? Yes, it is. Okay. Thank goodness. These two guys, I wrote down their names. Matt, I don't think I wrote down his last name. I should have. What's Matt's last name, you guys? He might have been a father. He was married. The white guy from Colorado Springs. He was active duty. He'd been serving in the military for 19 years. Yes, 19 years, active duty. That's crazy. So the other guy, the guy who ran the truck into all the people in New Orleans, he's got a very difficult name to say. Let me try it. Shamsuddin, and his last name is Jabbar, I think. So they both served in the Army, right? They both might have started service in the Army the same year of 2006. 2009 to 2010, they were both deployed to Afghanistan. And that was February of 2009 until January of 2010. That the one that lived in Houston, the one who crashed the white truck in New Orleans, that's when he served in Afghanistan. But Matt was in Afghanistan the same time frame. I don't know the exact month and the exact year. I'll get that. They both were stationed at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. Okay, it's a giant fort, but still. They both used Turo car rental, which I've never even heard of. I guess it's like the Airbnb of car rental where you can just like rent a car from anybody in town that's posted on here. So they both rented their cars or their trucks on Turo car rental. They both were stationed in Fort Bragg. They both started in the military in 2006, I think. And like I said, Matt was still active duty. The other guy, okay, he might have started in 2007. So Matt started 2006 until current. how should I say his name? Mr. Jabbar Shamshad Shamshadine. I'm so sorry. I do not like hacking up names, but I at least want to give it a shot. Um, so the guy who was from Houston that drove the white pickup truck, I think he enlisted in 2007 and then he unenlisted in 2020. So he served for 13 years, 8 years active duty, and then the last 5 years of his service, he was a reserve. And it's just weird how many similarities there are with the Army and with the car rental and then with the timing of it. I don't believe in coincidence. I mean, these were active maniacs trying to unalive people, and there's no such thing as coincidence in a homicide ever. And you've got basically what looks like were attempted mass casualties in both incidences. And yeah, if the Cybertruck wasn't built the way it was built, it probably would have done a lot more damage. I don't know if it would have been like an Oklahoma City bombing type of thing. But did you guys know that this guy, Matt, and do you have his last name or should I look it up? Do you know that he actually died of a gunshot wound to the head before the thing blew up? So that's a fact. That's not speculation. I've watched a whole bunch of pressers all freaking day because I didn't want to be going down no rabbit holes, you know. Ain't nobody got time for that. So let's see the name of the guy of Matt who blew up Cybertruck. And he was a Trump supporter, allegedly, right? I just have a lot of weird thoughts about this whole thing. Blew up Cybertruck New Year's Eve or New Year's Day. I just want to know the guy's last name. So the driver was the only one unalived and 7 other people were injured. Are they going to say his last name? Do you guys know his last name? Matthew Allen Livelsberger. Matthew Allen Livelsberger. Okay. So he rented his truck and he was active military. And like I said, I think married. I don't know if he had a kid. Do you guys know? Take your blood pressure if you can when sudden vomit happens. Many of us get POTS after they took shots. Heart goes funky and sudden puke. Been there just last Monday. So I haven't had any shots in a really long time, but I appreciate that information, Annie. It made me think that I should get my flu shot because getting the flu is the worst. These exploding cars, if public doesn't believe in mind control after these, they never will. We have several crises with the same actress crying. Government uses public practice on, in my opinion. Yeah, Granny Annie, I'm just going through all kinds of conspiracy theories. Like I said, I've been watching a lot of mainstream news all day, which I don't know if that's healthy or not. So yeah, not Libelsberger. It was like it's with a V, I think. C3PO, the Matthew. I don't know if it's his real name. Why? What's the big deal? Like Koberger? Is that what you're getting at? No, it's just so weird that they both served in the military, both in the Army. Weren't they about the same age too? I think that the Matt guy was about 37 years old, but I think the other guy was about 37 years old too. Did you guys catch it? I tried to get as many facts written down before I came on. Let's see. How old is this Matthew? So it's Livelssberger. And he was a Green Beret. That's so freaking crazy. Yeah, he was 37 years old. How old is the other guy? the guy who is a real estate agent now, Sham Shadeen. It's a very hard name to say. Samsudeen Jabbar. I can say the last name. Samsudeen Bahar Jabbar. Oh my goodness. So he was 42 years old. So let me just spell his name since I hacked it all up. SHAMSUD-DIN, new word BAHAR, new word JABBAR. So maybe just calling him Mr. Jabbar would be easier. I mean, what a wild name. He looks like he's African American in a lot of the video and photographs of him, but the name sounds very Indian. I know he was born and raised in Texas, and the only time he didn't live in Texas was when he was active duty, but I don't know his nationality. Divorced twice father, lived in North Harris County. Okay. So he was 42. And yeah, it almost seems like a coordinated effort, a terrorist attack, 2 terrorist attacks, basically. But this is my little conspiracy theory is look over here, don't look over here. So, you know, everybody, today was the big day with the voting of the Speaker of the House. If that didn't happen, there were going to be big problems. It was a big problem, but they made it happen. So Mike Johnson, is that the guy who got it? The guy who the president-elect wanted. He almost didn't get it, but then he did. And then the electoral count is certified on Monday. So here we are on Friday, the 3rd of January, and J6 is right around the corner, right? And I'm sure they could not be on higher alert in Washington, D.C. But it also makes me think that with these 2 attacks on New Year's Day, that it gives credence to not allowing any peaceful protest or very little peaceful protest in Washington, D.C. for J6 and for the inauguration day. So I just can't help but wonder if we're being played, you guys. I think we are. So there's this thing. You guys have probably heard of Project Paperclip, right? The whole MC Ultra deal. I've never heard of artichoke. Have you? Apparently that's something Christina Randall mentioned. I have to look more into it. So it's hilarious because I was just thinking about buying some artichokes the other day at the grocery store, and man, they were more expensive than eggs. I was just like, how are we ever supposed to enjoy artichokes again? I think it was like $4.50 or something like that for one artichoke. It's crazy. And, you know, there's 6 people in my family. So what am I going to do? Buy $25 worth of artichokes? That's just like a side thing. That's, you know, you still have to have your salad and your entree, basically. That's crazy. I mean, at a restaurant, sure, I'd pay $5 for an artichoke. That'd be a hot deal. But, man, they're so good. They are so good. Anna Bees, hello, hello. Right, and our newly unelected president had hot tips to solve the truck in front of the hotel. Nothing to see here. He had hot tips to solve the truck. I don't know what that means. Was there a typo in there? Grow your own vegetables. Can you grow your own artichokes? I saw Christina Randall today. Yeah, it was good, wasn't it? I watched it twice. And then I tried to watch the video that she was talking about, but I don't know. That didn't look very interesting to me. The one with the CIA operative, what was her name? Sarah Adams interviewing Sean Ryan. But Sean Ryan has his own channel. I don't think Sarah Adams has her own channel. And she didn't put the link in the description like she said she would. I'll check back later. Maybe she'll get to it. But Sean Ryan, I'm thinking that the interview is probably on his channel because it looks like he's interviewed the Sarah Adams a few times. And she is an ex-CIA operative, but it also seems like she might be like some kind of psychic wingnut. I mean, not to be judgmental or anything, just from looking at the thumbnails, I was sort of like, what? So yeah, this whole election cycle has just been crazy, and it just seems like a lot of attention whoring to me, you guys. I have to be straightforward. A lot of attention whoring. Like, it's not enough to be voted president. It's not enough to get inaugurated. It's not enough to have all of the eyes of everybody in the country on you. You have to have all the eyes of everybody in the nation on you. Or I mean, in the world. You knew what I meant, right? Because, man, so much freaking drama. It's like crisis actors. And then to see that guy, that Governor Green, Dr. Green over there in Hawaii, was his first name Eric? Was it Eric Green? To see him talking about the event there in Honolulu that unalived possibly as many as 20 people. It was really bad. Did you guys see videotapes of it? I mean, it was horrifying. It was a major fire in the middle of a residential area, and it was a lot of people that got hurt, like way more than the number of fatalities, way more. So if they already know that homemade fireworks are a problem, and they know that people set off fireworks on New Year's Eve, how did that happen? How did that happen? It's so freaking sad. And, there was nothing to make me suspicious about that except for the fact that it happened almost simultaneously with the situation. And they have like a major time difference too. They're a lot later in the day than us. Aren't they like 8 hours later? I get so confused with time changes. If you guys don't, maybe you can figure it out. So when that happened at midnight in Hawaii, what time was it in New Orleans? And what time was it in Las Vegas on New Year's Day? I'm going to have to look at all those and look at the time frames that those three things happened. That's crazy. So there weren't any explosions in New Orleans, but there were a bunch of explosives, that the guy had in the pickup truck and that he had planted at different places in New Orleans, like in coolers. And then where he ended up, wasn't that near one of the things that it looked like he was going to detonate? And these guys being from the Army, they would know how to detonate things. But I want to get back to Matt being shot in the head. So they said that he died of a single bullet wound to the head, and that the weapon was recovered. But it just really makes me wonder. Like, at the beginning, I wasn't wondering at all. I just thought obvious suicide bomber, right? Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to say that word. Obvious self-deletion bomber. And then the more I thought about it, I thought, well, I wonder if he knew that it was going to happen or if he didn't know. What if he was told that he would get out alive and then he didn't get out alive? But then when finding out that he died of a single gunshot wound to the head, it's like, why would he unalive himself that way when he's already going to unalive himself the other way? I mean, I guess there's reasons, like to make sure that you're really, really deceased, right? Really, really dead. And to make sure that you don't survive, make sure you don't change your mind. I don't know. But I'm interested in the trajectory of the bullet. Am I allowed to say that word? I'm very interested in the trajectory. I'm also very interested in things like they said that they found his ID in the back of the car and it wasn't burned. And so they were like trying to dispel the conspiracy theories that they were hearing about on the internet. And they were like, well, yeah, everything was charred, but it was like hidden under some stuff tucked away. So that's why his ID wasn't charred. So California is 2 hours ahead of Hawaii. I still get really confused. I don't know what that means. It's my dyslexic brain. Ahead. Okay, so when it's 5 o'clock in California, is it 7 o'clock in Hawaii or 3 o'clock in Hawaii? See, I live in the Midwest. I'm on East Coast time, and I've spent my whole life trying to do East Coast, West Coast, 3 hours difference, and I still can't figure it out to save my life. That's how crazy I am. So that gun helped run interference for the blowed up vehicle in front of the hotel. I thought she was kind of strange too. Anna B's, you're talking about Christina Randall being kind of strange, or you're talking about the Sarah Adams? Yeah, it looked like the things that Christina Randall was referring to were kind of sketch. I don't know. A little conspiracy theorist. I don't know who this Sean Ryan's guy is. And yeah, maybe I'll check it out some more later. But yeah, I mean, Christina Randall is usually really level headed and, you know, she does a little bit of clickbait. You know, you got to give it to her because she's like the queen of freaking YouTube and the queen of all social media. And I guess you can't do that without a little clickbait, right? She does a little conspiracy theory, but not much. She really goes with the status quo, I think, most of the time. Like, again, in the Kylie Rodney, I think she was all about the car accident conspiracy theory, you know, the status quo narrative. And with Koberger, she's like believing the letter that little Gigi from Arkansas invented. That killed me. That really killed me. Like, she's too smart for that. I mean, I like her because she's really smart. And I think she's really smart not just because she's got a good brain in her head, but because she's been a criminal and she's served hard time. Like, she really knows her shit, man. Like, she's got the street smarts. So, you know, she's not so much like book smart. I'm sure she could be if she wanted to be, but she's really social media smart, right? She's really savvy with the social media. And I like her. I like her message, you know, about being kind. And, you know, I think she's pretty straightforward. Let's see. I loved it when I could escape politics on my true crime channels. Oh, Granny Annie, I'm so sorry. The thing is that the two are colliding head on. I don't think it's just me. You look at all the political channels and they're all talking about true crime. And yeah, it seems like a lot of the true crime channels are. And, you know, I mean, I just have to do what's right for me. And what's right for me right now is to pay a lot of attention to what's going on politically and what's going on in the courts. And, you know, I spent last night focusing on Martha Moxley and how RFK Jr., I think, was tremendously responsible for and influential in getting Michael Skakel off scot-free. And I wonder if the president-elect wasn't part of that too, because it was a week before the election of 2020. And like, why would you do that on the 45th anniversary? Why would you do that to the family? Like, I understand trying to do that for your family, even though I don't really, because like I was saying yesterday, I think that probably all the Skakels know damn well that Michael is guilty. And it seems like his father sent him away to that Elon rehab therapy place to get him out of town so that he couldn't be interviewed. And then he ended up cracking when he was there. He told his story many times from many different perspectives. But the basic bottom line of the story was that he was shit-faced and that he did it and that he didn't really remember, but that he knew that he did it. And then some of the people that he told that to that testified against him ended up self-unaliving shortly thereafter. I mean, it's just so mobster. It's so mobster. So RFK Jr. getting cozy with Trump in the election this last fall, when they were pretty much arch rivals. Like, they did not like each other at all. They were in direct opposition to each other. And now they're all cozy. Like, that's just gross to me. I mean, he's pretty gross. Everything about him, let alone the stuff with Martha Moxley. And yeah. Anyway, we all know that the Kennedys have committed a lot of crimes. And I don't think that that's a theory. I think that's a fact. What a cursed, I mean, it's like the semi-charmed kind of life. Like, they're totally cursed and totally charmed at the same time. I mean, you look at JFK Jr. and Carolyn Bessette Kennedy. And man, that was a lot of bad luck, a lot of good luck, and then a lot of bad luck. And then for her parents, her sister was on that airplane with them. I think her sister's name was Lauren. So her family sued the Kennedys for many, many millions of dollars for wrongful death. That whole thing was so messed up. You don't think these guys independently came up with these bomb guns and being in the military, and we are not to think our military had anything to do with it? Oh, I know, Granny Annie, you're usually miles ahead of me. So I think that you're miles ahead of me with all of that. Yeah, I mean, so they were both ISIS sympathizers. I don't know. I mean, it just seems to me that there's a much bigger picture behind it. But in the mainstream media, they don't want to say, yeah, this is just two guys out of like 1,000, because I would think that if they have like an online cell group like that there'd be at least 1,000 people in it, if not 2,000, and that they're all independent, right? Kind of like incels. Probably a bunch of them are. C3PO sounds about right. Sounds more like an outside force being involved to me. Yeah, I think another country, but I also wonder about an inside job, like the person who wanted today to go down a certain way. He wants J6 to go down a certain way, and he wants J20 to go down a certain way. If he's not trying to get a lot of drama and a major distraction, like a red herring. I don't know. It's just crazy, isn't it? It's absolutely insane. I think it would be 6 hours earlier in Hawaii than East Coast time. I don't think Christina's strange. Yeah, thanks for clarifying. Yeah, 6 hours earlier in Hawaii. See, so if it's midnight here, it's not going to be midnight there for 6 hours, right? So when it was midnight there, it was 6 a.m. here, right? And the New Year's Day incidences in New Orleans and Vegas, what time did those happen at, you guys? Do you know? I'll Google it. But if you care to say so, what time? Because, yeah, I think the Cybertruck was in the morning, wasn't it? Come on, tell me what time. Early Wednesday. How early? What time? I need to know what time. It's not going to tell me. It never tells you what you want it to tell you, right? But it was at night, so it was like New Year's Eve. Okay, 3:15 a.m. Okay. So 3:15 a.m. New Orleans time. And then midnight in Hawaii. And then it was later in the morning, wasn't it like 8 o'clock or something that the Vegas one happened? Do you guys know? I'll look up and see if you're answering. 6 a.m. here is 1 a.m. there. Too much numbers, right, Annie Ruler? Too much numbers. So yeah, it is really weird that both of those vehicles were rented through that same app, the Turo car rental app, peer-to-peer. Both involved U.S.-born military men who served in Afghanistan around the same time frame, but don't appear to have any known connections. Okay, there's so many things that they have in common. Don't tell me it's all coincidence. That's ridiculous. No distinctive link is what the FBI official says. And of course, they're going to stick to that all the way home, right? Let's see. I just want to know what time this thing happened in Vegas. It's like telling me how many people use Turo. I don't care about that. What time did the thing in Vegas happen? Please. NBC, will you tell me? Crazy that there's no connection. Yeah, I mean, so the one served 29 years, or no, 19 years, and the other guy served 15 years and injured at least 30 others. So he was shot by the law enforcement, the New Orleans truck driver, but the guy in Vegas, they're implying that he shot himself, or maybe they've said directly that they've shot himself, but I don't know if that's accurate. Like, don't you need to do an investigation to really see? I mean, I guess they have the the surveillance camera, right? But what time was it at? Dang it, 7:30 a.m. Okay. Exploded an hour later, so 8:30 a.m. All right, so we have midnight in Hawaii, 3 a.m. in New Orleans, and then 8:30 a.m. in Vegas. So it makes it sound like the one in Hawaii and the one in New Orleans were right around the same time, you guys. Right? What's the time difference between New Orleans and Hawaii? One last Google, I swear. Help me out with this, people, because my brain doesn't function anyway. Time difference between what is the time difference between the two? New Orleans is 4 hours ahead of Hawaii. So if it's 6:30 in New Orleans, it's 2:30 in Hawaii. So that means if it's midnight in Hawaii, it's 4 a.m. in New Orleans. Interesting, huh? So yeah, I mean, they all happened maybe like in a 5-hour time frame, and that's just a lot of a coincidence. And then you've got those two airplanes, the one airplane that was shot down and the one airplane that crashed. those were just a couple of days before that. And those were like a day apart. Like that was weird. Like I think about 170 or 180 people passed away on each one of those planes, right? Am I crossing my wires? Because I thought I was crossing my wires, and then I looked it all up to make sure that I wasn't. And yeah, this stuff is wackadoodle, you guys. It totally messes with your brain. It's like extreme gaslighting, extreme gaslighting. Anna B says it's all too much for my brain to handle. Yeah. Okay, what did I miss? I think it would be 6 hours early in Hawaii than East Coast time. I don't think Christine is strange. Okay, was that the last one? Yeah, that was the last one I read out loud. And then Mega Pints and Muffins, nice to see you. Son leaves California and goes to Hawaii. We watch Survivor in California before they do in Hawaii. That's cute, Annie. She does have good street smarts. Both are gross. He's pretty gross. The bomber guys, or are you talking about political figures? It's all too much for my brain to handle. Annabes, I am with you on that. Yeah. And at the same time, I feel like it's important to pay attention. I feel like it's very important to pay attention. I know a lot of people don't want to, and part of me doesn't want to, and another part of me just can't not look at the train wreck, right? Kind of like the current and upcoming regime. Sun rises on the East Coast. 6 a.m. here is 1 a.m. there, Eastern Standard Time. Yeah, it's crazy that there's no connection. It's like they always have to say that. They always have to say that. And then they always have to say all those crazy conspiracy theorists on the interweb. And again, they're trying to bash individual free thinkers, you know, like you're free to think whatever you want and you can theorize however you want. And then we'll see what the truth is. We'll see what they'll admit to now and what they'll admit to 50 years from now, like in the situation with JFK, situation with Marilyn Monroe. I mean, give me an effing break, you know? I think it's important that we all trust ourselves to be able to distinguish truth from fiction, or at least think that we can. And then, you know, sometimes we're going to be proven wrong. Sometimes we're going to be proven right. We're not going to go out and make a bunch of t-shirts and hats that say, I'm always right about everything, are we? Oh, wait, unless we're elected president. He was posting third person that he was always right about everything. The night before last, Trump was posting, Trump is always right about everything. What a freaking nut job, man. Could he be any crazier? Like, are they going to put him in a straitjacket soon? I hope. I am worried about him. I'm worried about all of us, honestly. No distinctive link, but their families should keep body fluids and brain tissue to see what is used for their mind control, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, that's how they do it, is with, like, we've all seen Jacob's Ladder, right? With the substances. And yeah, who knows what high-tech types of capacities and abilities they have now. Which one was black? The one shot by the LEOs? Of course. C3PO, always. Good idea, Annie, but it would probably magically disappear. Yeah. I don't even bother. I don't even know about the plane crashes. Annabees, so there was one that happened. They both happened far, far away from America. So one of them was like South Korea. I think that was the crash. And then the other one, I don't know. But Putin apologized for it. And then he said that it was like friendly fire, I think, that it was like an accident or something. I'll have to look it up if you guys want to. I promise you I wouldn't be Googling anymore. I've Googled enough. I'm not even an hour in, and I think I've used my Googling rations for the night. Yeah, I think that's a good idea, Granny Annie, about keeping the fluids. RFK Jr. and DJT, or both are gross. Yeah, yeah. And so, yeah, there's RFK Jr. and then, of course, there's JFK Jr. So they both, RFK and JFK, were both having affairs with Marilyn Monroe, allegedly. And all three of them were assassinated, basically. And that was right around the same time as Martin Luther King. Now, isn't it weird that Inauguration Day is also Martin Luther King Day? Like, this is just bizarre. And of course, they knew that that would happen when they decided that January 20th would be Martin Luther King Day. They knew that that would happen. We had recent pew pews in San Felipe. I found myself looking around more and planning where to take cover if needed. So I think too, with these seemingly terrorist attacks, is it's going to encourage a lot of people to stay home. It's going to encourage a lot of people to not go to Washington, D.C., especially if they were thinking of going there to protest the inauguration. And if they do go there, they'll probably get swept out from the Mall of America. They probably won't be allowing as much peaceful protest as they normally do. I mean, Washington, D.C. has state-of-the-art security, and they have peaceful protests like every other day of the year practically. So they know what they're doing. They know how to handle it. But I don't know. I mean, I have a feeling that Putin's pissed off with the Donald, and I don't think Putin thinks they're friends the way Donnie thinks they're friends. I just don't. So I think we need to be extraordinarily careful with him for sure. I love that movie. Timothy Robbins is great. Oh, I'm in love with him. Huge crush on that man. Yeah, he was married to Susan Sarandon for years. They did get a divorce, so I don't know if he's single now. But yeah, he's a freaking hottie and a half, isn't he? Now I want to watch that movie. See, now I want to watch anything with Timothy Robbins in it. He's one of my favorites. Like I was telling you guys the other day, Harry Connick Jr. is one of my favorites. Benicio del Toro. I've got a handful, a short list. Jeremy Sisto is one of them. I love that guy. He ended up being on one of the Law and Orders, and I was just like, man, what a heartthrob. I like James Franco too, although I don't really like his personality. He's a pretty man, very pretty man. Yeah, I definitely have a type. But Tim Robbins kind of breaks the mold. He's hilarious in High Fidelity. He's so good in that movie. So good. Anybody who hasn't seen High Fidelity, it's about breakups and music. And it was like Jack Black's first movie. I love Jack Black too. Like I honestly think Jack Black is hot. He tries to make himself look as gross as possible. And he's really good at it. But he's a hottie. Like, I mean, he's funny. He's talented. His parents are both rocket scientists, you guys. Jack Black is like a rocket scientist of comedy, seriously. And he tries to be gross because it's part of his act, you know, being like all fat and slovenly and filthy and like, yeah. I never thought that I would think he was attractive. Like, I thought he was like the grossest guy in the world for a long time. And then I finally understood where he was coming from when he walked out onto Conan O'Brien's show in a velour sweatsuit. And he had come across the hall right after sitting down for an interview on another TV show in the same velour sweatsuit. It's like the top and the bottom were both burgundy, and he looked like such a geek. And that's when I figured him out. I was like, oh, he's trying to look like an idiot. That's his shtick. Yeah. I watched the J6 guys opening gates for buses of masked guys. Plants, in my opinion. Why else let them in? The whole thing with J6 was nuts. Everything about it. And, you know, I have very strong feelings about it. You know, I mentioned it in one of the last lives I did, how I took that very personally since I was born in Arlington and Washington, D.C. is my first hometown. My granddad was stationed, he worked in the Pentagon during the Kennedy administration. My son is there now. And yeah, I mean, when January 6th happened 4 years ago, my son wasn't there. He was still in high school, but it was 5 years ago now, coming up on, or no, 4 years ago. Yeah, 4 years ago. Anyway, yeah, with my husband being a police officer, I really took the assault on the Capitol personally. It felt like I was being attacked. And I resent the MF who put everybody up to it and then tries to call it a day of love and tries to deny that he had anything to do with it. He's an adjudicated insurrectionist, and he's not fit for the office of president, in my opinion. He's not even fit to serve French fries at McDonald's, in my opinion. Sorry, not sorry. I mean, come on. He thought that people shoved the French fries into the little paper containers with their bare hands. He's like, wow, they never even touched them. I always figured that they had their gooby germs and boogers all over the French fries when I was eating them. I mean, he's such a freaking toddler. He throws ketchup at the walls, you guys. You know the whole story about the ketchup. He does this often. Like, he has the little bottles of ketchup because he wants them unopened. Makes sense because he's worried about it being poisoned. That makes sense. But then when he gets angry, he throws the little bottles of ketchup at the wall. Like, what a freaking nut. Him and his proper hamburgers. That's all he eats. Is proper hamburgers. OMG. And I love hamburgers, but there's nothing proper about a hamburger. Like, what are you talking about? Do you mean proper in the sense that it's served to you on a gold platter? Because yeah, of course it is, because you poop in a gold toilet too. I mean, commode, right? It's gross. It's just gross. This whole billionaire thing is just so disgusting. So disgusting. I apologize for the background noise if you could hear that. I asked my husband not to do that. He's sick and he just blew his nose, and he blows it really loud. And I was like, honey, can you not do that while I'm live? Because, people might think somebody's dying in the background. And he was like, well, wouldn't that be good for your true crime? And I was like, yeah, but it's gross. I hate it. I hate it. Drives me nuts. Anyway, what else you guys saying? It's been a long time since I saw High Fidelity, and John Cusack is in it too. And yeah, he was like the it guy when he did that movie. And then his sister, Joan Cusack, they were like the it siblings, right? You cannot be Law and Order and cheer for those baboons on J6. I mean, I'm even sad for like Ash got shot in the neck just because she was misled, I believe. I mean, I think she was being crazy too. And the cops had warned everybody, don't do it. We're going to shoot you. And she probably thought, well, I'm a woman and I'm 5 feet tall, so I can do whatever the F I want. Right. And she was shot in the neck, and that's tragic. Absolutely tragic. But, she made a lot of crazy videos, live streams on her way driving from California to Washington, D.C. And she was the only direct fatality like that. I mean, I think a lot of them were unalived. A lot of the insurrectionists were unalive, like falling off of balconies on the outside of the Capitol. And at least one of them had a fatal heart attack. I don't know. I think it was like 6 of the insurrectionists that passed away. And then probably a dozen or more of the law enforcement. I don't know. I don't think they'll ever release a final count because they don't like to publicize self-unalivings. And we know that there were self-unalivings in the days immediately following that. And then, we don't hear about the people that were like maimed and grossly injured and will never be the same. I mean, I would think of all the officers that were there, all the law enforcement and active duty, that none of them will ever be the same, seeing what happened on their own land, from their own people, from people who call themselves patriotic. And there's been so many of these people that have realized that what they did was wrong, and they've come around and try to speak out publicly about it, try to help other people that are being deceived too. Not Mickey D's. No, not Mickey D's. I have headphones on and didn't hear him blow. Oh, Granny Annie, I'm glad. I can't stand it. I'm just like, man, you're trying to really kill me with your old manness. Even if they release the facts, they will not be truthful facts. I'm angry that Democrats didn't do anything to make sure the orange man couldn't run again. It's in the 14th Amendment, but for some reason they can't do it. Why? Well, I don't know if they're planning on doing it or not. I mean, word on the street is that Liz Cheney, well, I guess now it'll be Mike Johnson, right? Because Liz Cheney was going to be the person that would validate the electoral votes, and it wasn't looking like she was going to, but now that Mike Johnson's in there, it's a done deal. And yeah, the 14th Amendment, Section 3 is very specific that you're right, Anna Bees, but if it's ignored, they do what they want. They don't follow any rules. I blame Congress for our corrupt society. Yeah, I mean, politicians are just dirty rat bastards. I mean, it's kind of like Hollywood, but not as glamorous. There's just a lot of backstabbing and a lot of people that are out for themselves and nobody else. The cop self-unalivings, in my opinion, are people that were not willing to play along with them, not allowing the National Guard, deleting texts, etc. Oh, Annie, that is scary. I'm sure there was some of that. Like I said, you're always miles ahead of me, girl. Thank you for your brilliance. Because the Dems are not insurrectionists, they are peaceful and just want to win fair and square, unlike the party who just wants to win whether by hook or crook. Yeah, and you can't play clean with somebody who's playing dirty. I mean, it's ridiculous. Adios, Granny Annie. I blame billionaires, Billy darling. I love you. I blame oligarchs. Agree, Billy darling. Anna B says politicians are worse than Hollywood. Nothing's worse than Hollywood. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, look at the music industry. My goodness. We thought nothing was worse than Hollywood than incoming Sean Combs, right? Mostly I blame the greedy, rich elite. Evil days. And so, yeah, Sean Combs and the Donnie, there's a lot of pictures of the two of them hanging out, just like there's a lot of pictures of Donnie hanging out with Epstein. And I would like to see the Epstein list. I love the way the Republicans, especially Marjorie Taylor Greene, her and her gazpacho police, she loves threatening everybody with the Epstein list. It's like, girl, you know who's all over that Epstein list. It's like a double think, like a 1984 thing. It's like, we know who's on the Epstein list, so quit threatening that you're going to show it, because we know that you're not, or if you do, it's going to be redacted, heavily redacted. I blame the greedy, rich elite devils. Yep. I still think politicians are worse. Orange pom-pom is disgusting, foolish, greedy cow. Well, and I think it's important to say that on the internet, seriously, just to speak your mind and speak your heart, because he's tried to make it so that people are too afraid to say anything negative about him. Like he's going to hunt you down and put you in jail or just execute you if you even think something negative about him. It's just like, dude, like how fragile can your ego be? Give me an effing break. Epstein list has the creepy orange buffoon on it, no matter what. He probably is the Epstein list. I mean, it's probably just him. Sean Combs, Michael Jeffries, him. Wexler, him. Sean Carter, man, he is Billy. Elon Musk is a psychotic psycho. Well, he's like a freaking toddler too. These people, man, he owns his plane. Right, C3PO, thanks for reminding me. Trump owns Epstein's jet, and he was using it during his campaigning. Like, that is so freaking twisted. Talk about hiding in plain sight. I think he had like a shrink wrap over it saying Trump on the side. Probably said Trump was right about everything. Funny, not funny, you guys. Killing me. What else? The artichoke thing, the Project Paperclip. So the mind control, the MC Ultra. That's, I think, what might have happened to this guy, Matthew. Is he the one that was 37 years old? Yeah, Matt was the 37-year-old. The other guy, Mr. Jabbar, was 42. So they're only 5 years age difference. Matt signed up for the military in 2006. Mr. Jabbar signed up in 2007. They both served in Afghanistan. Well, at least Mr. Jabbar was in Afghanistan from February of 2009 until January of 2010. But I think that Matt was there that same time. And then they were both stationed at Fort Bragg for years at the same time. But it is a big Army base. I mean, any Army base is big. But if they did the same type of work, then that, like when you're looking at the Payne brothers and Kopaka in the Idaho 4, if they're all like paratroopers like those three were, then we know that they knew each other, even if their timing wasn't the same. If they're living in the same area and they're part of this elite squad. So we know Matt was a Green Beret. This Mr. Jabber was, I think, in information technology. So Mr. Jabber was divorced twice. Matt was married and maybe going through some marital trouble and maybe has a kid. I don't know. I'm not sure. Good night, everyone, says Fred Field. Project Bluebeam. What is that? I don't know what that is. Never heard of it. Is that a thing? Billy Darling? Yeah, they brainwashed them in MK Ultra. Right. I'm thinking that this is like MK Ultra type of crap with these two guys. And that it might be like Jacob's Ladder type of crap too. And that they might have been like programmed to do this stuff as a decoy for what's going on in Washington, D.C. right now. Like, let's look at Vegas. Let's look at New Orleans. Let's not look at Washington, D.C. Nothing to see over here, folks. Like they really need to run the hygiene of the election, and that's not happening. That's not going to happen because it wouldn't pass the smell test, right? I don't know, right, Anna? It's believable lately. Good night, Fred. I got to get up at 1:40 a.m. and I'm fading fast. Yeah, thanks for coming in. I always appreciate you. You were the first one here. Good night, good night. I meant MK Ultra. What did I say? I read it as MK Ultra. What did you write? Annabes. Like the Manchurian Candidate. Oh, that's such a good movie. Um, yeah. Anyway. What else? What else can we talk about before we wrap it up? Um, oh, the thing about Trump saying that Epstein likes them young. Like, dude, did he tell you that? Or is that just your observation from hanging out with him? I mean, that's just so gross. And I think his exact words were he likes them a little on the younger side, which is disgusting because, you know, you see pictures of uh Donnie with teenage girls too. I mean, Donnie did those Russian beauty contests, beauty pageants. Remember, he was the owner of the pageant, so he could grab them by the handle. He could walk in on them to inspect when they were not wearing clothes. These were teenagers, you guys. These were like tweens. Like, I mean, he's right there with Michael Jeffries and the models for Abercrombie and Fitch and Hollister and all that crap, in my opinion. It's just disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. So I know that the MAGA lovers want to believe that he will do away with the cars that tell, the cars that don't tell, and all the traffickers. And, you know, let him, let him prove me wrong. Like, let him prove himself to be the good guy. I don't think he can. I think that for him to say that he's going to do away with cartels, like, so if you have that power, then why haven't you done it yet? And so really you're just trying to say that you're like the top dog of all the cartels. Is that what you're trying to say? Because that's what it sounds like. Anyway. Ugh. Manchurian Candidate. What's that other one? What's the other one? Is it? It's not Manchurian Candidate, is it? The Maltese Falcon. Those weren't those like back to back, Manchurian Candidate and Maltese Falcon, and aren't they both like Bogart? Um, Maltese Falcon, I think, is Bogart, Bacall, and Jimmy Stewart. Is that right? Anyone who hasn't seen Maltese Falcon, take my word for it. You want to see it. I want to be wrong. Exactly, Annabes. I love being wrong in certain situations. Like, I'd love to be proven wrong about the doom that I see coming if this guy, this clown, gets inaugurated. I just can't even freaking imagine. And I don't see it not happening. Again, I hope I'm wrong about that. I don't think anything's going to stop it. It's like a freight train out of control. Nothing can save us now, people. So I'm going to wrap up. We've been on for an hour and 15. I love you guys. I appreciate you so much. It is just after 8 on Friday night, January 3rd. So Monday is the day, D-Day. I guess all we can do is try to pray and trust the higher power, right? I don't know. I really just don't know what in the world is going on, and hope that there's not any more terrorist attacks over the weekend. My guess is that there will be, so that they can keep distracting, so that they can just have the certification of the electoral count on Monday. You know, just keep distracting, and then just keep distracting between the 6th and the 20th. Just, I hope not. People need to be able to live their lives in a free country, not fearing this type of violence and not fearing this type of dictatorship. So Thanks for listening to me, you guys. I hope I'm not too much doom and gloom, because I do feel like some doom and gloom right now. The 6th is also Three Kings Day, the Epiphany. Oh, so that's when we're supposed to take down our Christmas trees, right, Anna Bees? I haven't taken mine down yet. I usually take mine down like the day after Christmas, but we honestly didn't get our tree put up until like the day before Christmas or the day before that this year. So we've left it up. So very cool. Very cool. Thanks for pointing that out, my dear. Thank you so much for being here, people. Did I highlight the right one? No, I wanted to highlight the Three Kings one. It highlighted the wrong one. All right. So I'm going to log off. I'm going to try to do a yoga video without Ralphing. We'll see how that goes. I got my hair trimmed. My hairdresser finally saved me yesterday from all the split ends. So I'm happy about that. But yeah, I'm just really nervous about J6 and J20. Sherry, just signing off, my dear. Now I can't go anywhere. How are you? So yeah, let's talk about having a really good start to the new year. I do want to stay positive. I try so hard, but I also like to be honest about how I'm feeling. I also like to be honest about my fears, and I hope that I'm just, being overly dramatic, right? Everything's fine. It's all fine. It's just an election. What's the big deal? So peace out, love and light. Take really good care of yourself. Eat your veggies, eat your protein, get your exercise, your fresh air, relax. Get your flu shots if you haven't yet. And yeah, do everything you can to keep your immunities up. I don't advertise for Trader Joe's, although it might seem like I do sometimes because I love their products. This is something, it's not their own brand, but I bought it there. It's called B and U. Oh, isn't that funny? B and U, like BEE with the and symbol and YOU. I love that, being you. It's propolis raw honey throat spray, and it tastes awful, but it's supposed to keep you from getting sick, and I believe in it. So I'm using it. I'm recommending it for everybody that doesn't want to be sick. And love and light. Peace out. What else? Just be yourself. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. And take really good care of yourself. Have a great weekend. And maybe I'll see you before the weekend's over. Maybe not until it's over.